We would like to welcome you, everybody, here in this wonderful place. This is Sylvia Jensen. She comes from a place where there is the sea, the flat sea, and she likes to go up the lighthouses.
And when I first met him, he introduced himself to me, saying that his name is Florian. And do you know the name of the town where I live in Brazil? It's called Florianópolis. So I could never forget his name anymore. And you have in front of you a man that is very enthusiastic, has always a good smile. We can see him around the world, always like this. So it's a pleasure to be here, sharing this moment with you.
And she's also smiling, but in a different way, as you can see. What we want to do today is something different. It's a new way of having a dialogue. We have an image together. She has chosen an image. This is, of course, the way life is. The kindergarten teacher are first. They use an image, and my duty is it to take it up and to transform it for high school students. So we have between us, so in us, in our hearts, we have one image, and we prepared out of this image, long distance between the flat sea in Brazil and the Swiss mountains. And what you see now is the inner picture, how it is transforming. And because we are not at the same place, she is talking first, and then I will talk. So our dialogue is a dialogue of the heart. And you don't see us at the same time just now.
Maybe later.
Good.
I can drive my car, but not this one. All right. I was supposed to ask if everyone can hear me. Yes? Okay. Can you imagine how it is for a kindergarten teacher to be in this place? You cannot see the fire that is down here, you know. Because of that, we are working with water. So it is an honor to be here, and it is a challenge to be here too, because kindergarten teachers work from the thoughts. We always have to work from here, but it gets into our hands, in our deeds, in our gestures. So we are not so used to transform our thoughts into speech. Because of that, I'm a little bit shaking, but people said it's going to be better soon. All right. We are going to have an image, two images behind us, one that you can see and then one that you should imagine. And I would like us to start. You can see it is just warm up. It's a song I do in the kindergarten. It's about how I start my year our year starts in February, and February for us is summer. We live in a diverse earth, don't we? So, and the music goes like this. As onda, you can try to come with me. As ondas do mar só sabem Once again. As ondas do mar só sabem brincar. Chuva, 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 chuva. Why I'm bringing this song? Because since I received this invitation 14 months ago, the first answer was, no, thank you, I don't need this for my life. And 2 days later they said, please consider. I said, no dear, thank you, I don't want. And they said, well, it's January, please consider until May. I said, oh my goodness, okay, let's see. And in the end I said, okay, I do if I can do something for my heart. And then they accepted. And what I feel is that since this time I have been collecting things like a big wave, and now came the time that I can spread this wave into you. Because of that, we were singing. This ondas do mar means waves from the ocean, and shua. So I hope my shua goes far away and gives you all this pleasure that's to be at the seaside. And as our theme is about sea, I would like us to add another ocean to our world map. And this map, this ocean is going to be called the ocean of the eternal becoming of a human being. I'm going to repeat. The ocean of the eternal becoming of a human being. So, everyone that is related to the sea, that enters into a boat to travel, needs to have landmarks, because suddenly the sea, it's like this and you don't know where you are. And I have learned that with wet, I cannot write later. So let's go to this one then. Is it right?
It's not so wet, a little bit.
We have to have references, landmarks. And I would like you to I'm going to invite you to think a good reference for the one that is sailing, that is on the sea, is a lighthouse. Okay? So, what are the qualities of a lighthouse? First, it has to have a strong structure. Why? Because it's built upwards. And there is no protection here, so it has to be there, grounded. Here has a window, a door, and here there are stairs to come here, and from here light is irradiated. Isn't it a beautiful image? You are grounded, but you go up, and from here you radiate light. But in order for me to be connected to this, I have to have contact to this lighthouse. I have to know where it is, otherwise I cannot go into the sea. And once I have had this connection, I feel trust. And as more as I know this landmark, more far away I can go and come back, and go and come back. So, do you remember the name of this sea? The ocean of the eternal becoming of human being. And today I would like to bring some lighthouses for this ocean. And this lighthouse can be called study of man. It can be called science, occult science. It can be called how to achieve the knowledge of the higher world. In this sea we are traveling, but we have those lighthouses as reference. Okay? So the way as I said before, I can only be here if I talk about from my heart. And I would like you to write down the word heart, please. Can you see hidden here another word? Art. So I was so pleased when I discovered that I want to talk about from my heart, and art is inside. And I would like to convince you, that's not good, but I would try. We say that you are free beings, but I would like to say, if you like my quotations, you say, Plato says that the pure art is allied, is connected with the supreme. Meister Eckhart, that comes from the 13th, 14th century, he says that art prepares all creatures to return to God. Powerful. And Rudolf Steiner says that art is so important as cognition and religions. They were sisters, but once upon a time they divided themselves from each other. And we should come together and build up this sisterly relationship if we want to have a man, a completely human being. And he also says that art is inseparable space in the heart. So, what does it have to do with the ways to prepare children for a social future? You see the important task from the kindergarten teacher. We make all the base for them alone, speak everything, but we need time to prepare this base that comes into the human development. All right. And now I have to drive my car again. We are going to make a path through art, and this social life, behind this word, there is something called meeting, encounter. If we are social, we encounter, there is no doubt. It can be a bad encounter or a good encounter, but we have to encounter. And I'm going to bring a picture here that first of all, we have to encounter it. And to encounter someone, what do you need to do? You have to open yourself. You have to make space. I cannot see something already talk about myself. Something doesn't show to me if it's like this. So after you encounter, you see objectively what is there, then you can try to make some relationships. Wow, maybe she's moving this way, moving that way. And after that, I can ask, which qualities this being has, this flower has? What's the movement of this animal? And at the end, I have the essence of it. So we are going to see a picture now here. We are not having time to do this process. Unfortunately, I'm going to bring it ready for you. And from this picture, we are going to try to find out the ways that we bring social life for the children into the future. Okay? So I am supposed to call Jesse. Does he know about us? Oh. And he is supposed to darken this room. And I'm supposed to get out of here. Does it go by like I think we need it more dark. Can we have it more darker? Where is he? Sorry? So while it doesn't come, it's a pity. Sorry? Yeah? Okay. What are you seeing here? It's a Rembrandt's picture, the Holy Family. If we would describe quickly the phenomena without judging anything, we can see two worlds. A higher world and the earth world. Okay? And down at the earth, we have this child that's in the cradle, asleep. We have this woman. We cannot say if it's a mother because objectively we are saying that she's a woman holding a book, and behind there is a man. But is he going to try to make it darker? Is he going to try to make it darker?
It's darker. That's this color.
We can see.
But you can see better. Yeah, it's amazing the contrast. Well, let's start then, because our time is running. What Steiner says in the first chapter of the study of man, he invites us to check how far we want to build up a relationship to the spiritual world. Do you remember this? He says, reflect about the relationship we want to establish with the spiritual world through our activity. Education is a continuation from what has been started in the higher world. So, right from this first phrase, we are supposed to have one opinion, how I would like to go on in Steiner education. Can you have if it would be possible for you to see the gesture of this angel? He's like this. my reading of this is that he is very much interested in what is happening here on the earth. And at the beginning of our life, we are given by the higher beings 3 qualities, 3 capacities. Imagine that when we are 3 years old, we have in us all these capacities that will enable us to work to be as a human being for the whole life. Isn't it amazing that it happens when we are not aware of anything? We learn this through imitation. So what are those capacities? We learn to walk. We learn to speak, and we start thinking. And what we, considering that the child imitates, and we are there as a role model, what do we do with the possibility of walking? Which way do we walk in a way that we can build up this future social life for the child? I would say that we have the possibility to walk a correct path. And once we start walking, I always tell when I tell the birthday story, that when the child is walking, what happens with the hands? They do naughty things for the child, okay? But us, as an adult, we walk this way and we have our hands to do good deeds. Can you follow that? So this, how many possibilities do we have in early childhood to do good deeds for this child? The first 7 years, but the first 3 years is so precious, everything is being molded. So we know that the first 7 years we are giving this seed of gratitude. We are implanting gratitude into the body of the child. Afterwards, this gratitude is going to become love for God. So what a responsibility we have. So as better as I looked after this child, and we are talking about they are building their body, so what do they need? They need food that smells good, that is made with love, that they can come and help me. They need to be, when they are totally sweat, you see, sweat, you go there and wash them and they feel good again on them. They come into the room and my hands have prepared a beautiful room that's beauty, that has beauty in itself. So every detail that we do for the body to be cared after and feel comfortable in this house. The child won't say thank you for us, but the child is going to have devotion towards us. And this is what we can do for the social life, because we need gratitude in the future to receive something and give away. How can we give away if we haven't received anything? So this we do with our hands. Coming to speech. If we want to keep this child in this mood of dreaming consciousness, we can sing, we can hum, we don't speak so much, but wherever we speak, this speech has to be truthful. It has to be benevolent. Again, I have two good qualities for a social life in the future. If I need to tell you something and it's what I'm going to say is not so good. So how do I cover these words with goodness, with, yeah. This we are showing, oh my goodness. This I put in my speech. And about thinking. We are saying that sometimes we hear, oh, you kindergarten teachers, you don't need to think. That's so unfair, so unfair. Should be unfair, I hope it is, because we have to think so much, we have to read the same books. Yeah, but how does it become something in my hand? Okay, so how through this thinking I have good ideas, and these ideas become deeds as well. So if we put everything in a pot, I'm just talking about goodness here. And a social life needs that. And I have this possibility through the 7 years doing that. And you know why? Now what? This guy up there, this angel, he's trying, yes, go, that's nice, he's there. How do you call this? Cheering us up. Oh, sorry, today didn't work. Tomorrow you have chance again. So we have to believe that doing this to the children, to the world, we are nourishing these beings that are so interested in what we are doing here. And right from the beginning, Steiner says, what do you want to do with the higher world? Can you see that through this we are planting seeds into the social life of the child when it becomes an adult? Is it clear? We don't have so much time left. Then we come down a little bit in this picture. And we come to this child that is in the cradle. He's asleep. If you could count, he has behind his, under his head, a pillow. He has a little cloth here, another one, then he has the cradle itself, and he has another cloth. So my first question is, why we have to protect so much the child's head? I think this could be a good question for our discussion group. And if we look to the picture where he is, we see more redness than whiteness, okay? So if we look at the child development, or the human development, Steiner says also in Study of Man, that we have the nerve pole and the blood pole. And they are opposites. And which pole is more alive in the early childhood? Which one? The blood pole, the red pole. So again, it's a pity that's not so dark. I'm still wanting it darker. We are stubborn, aren't we? So we heard that we enter the world on a sleepy way, and then we go on dreaming. And we hear that we have to keep this dreamy atmosphere into the early childhood. Why? Why we cannot address the child into the head but through the limbs? Mr. Wichert said here another day, the forces, sorry that I'm not so much at this side, to be social. Mr. Wichert said that we have to care for these formative forces. They are the same ones that we can address for thinking. So if we address too much the child in the head, something is missing to build up the body. And it's interesting because the beginning of life, we want to push life forward, like, give heels to the child, you put lipstick, you give bras, and you dye your hair when you are young, and when you become 30, oh my goodness, it's going down, and then you want to break this process of getting old, but it's gone. So why we are in a rush? If we have a whole life to be here and we want to be conscious, active, we have to save these lives for the body at the beginning. Okay, so where in our kindergarten the child has so much opportunity to be in their limbs? Which activity? It's not difficult to answer. I can't hear anything. Sorry? Bewegen, spielen. It means movement, play. Play. Please pay attention to this word. Which qualities we can have when the child plays? First of all, creation. They come to the classroom and everything is there in its place, and then you are in the corner and say, what is going to be created today? Isn't it like this? And suddenly, it comes like this. So, creativity. They are so curious. The child is so open. The child, most of the time, is solving problems. He is persistent. Before he doesn't get that cloth correctly on this wood place there, he asks and asks and tries and tries. And so persistence is there. Wow, negotiation is also there. So I entered once a kindergarten where 20 children and 20 horses to gallop. I said, poor children, how can they negotiate if they have 20 horses and 20 children? So negotiation is something that belongs to play. And something so beautifully, they easily forgive. So I'm going to repeat these qualities, and you please try to think if there is any connection for a healthy social life. Creation, curiosity, openness, trust, solving problems, persistence, negotiation, easily forgiveness. There are many more here. Do you agree that those qualities are good for a social life? Very necessary? Okay. And now I would like to ask, how many hours, how much space do you give in your program for the child to play? If we believe that you wake up the body through play, what is most important in kindergarten? Time, to give time for that. And why I'm bringing this here is because I have been visit many kindergartens, and do you know what they say after a while? Bling, 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 something like this. Bling, 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 bling. They're there playing and come, drawing time. So they come and draw. Bling, bling, bling. Modeling time. What are you doing? You are breaking something precious. They are there trying their best to be themselves. To play is something not from this world, you can say. So as I'm nearly finishing, I would like to say that please go back to your programs in kindergarten. Try to deal in yourself with the chaos that sometimes it can be while the children play. But trust that after this chaos, they will find the way to play nicely and exercise all these qualities. And when they grow up, they have lived there, this lies in their bodies. And we heard yesterday from this man that was here giving the lecture, that the world, I don't know his name, sorry, that the world is, we don't know how long it's going to be held like this. The nature is not able anymore to go on if we behave like this. So I would say, as a kindergarten teacher, carer, parents, class teacher, high school teacher, we should have more to allow children to be more in nature. It's too much to be the whole day in nature, well, we don't need to go to this side. But first to ask ourselves, how do I relate to nature? Because if the child is going to imitate me, so I have to have love for it, I have to have passion. How can the child relate, protect nature later on if he's not having this contact? Many, many children live now in very narrow spaces. That nature is a luxury, you know. Sometimes you have a plant in your room and nothing else. So if we consider that this age is so precious for the future, I think that we should, I'm coming back to what I have said, leave plenty of space for them to play, take them to nature every day, and let they have time for this. I think we can have a better world in the future, but I can only relate to something if I am connected to it, and it's our task to do that. You know that very well, don't you? She works with nature and children. So my time is over now, and to finish up, I would like to say that I don't know where I was, but a new thought came to me. Do you know a good example for will? No. Look, no, please. Dark. Do you know an example that Steiner says where the will lives? Imagine a seed totally closed, and there inside of this seed is the will. This potential is there. And what we do in kindergarten, we allowed the seed to open a little bit one root. We allowed to open another root. But we don't see the stem, or how do you call this? Stem? Kindergarten time is not time to see the flower. This comes later. And sometimes I have the feeling that we push the grade into kindergarten. And we do too many activities. But he's moving so much, I need to have him. Okay, so you put him weaving and weaving and weaving and embroidering and embroidering and embroidering. I don't know. To be honest, I would like to say, I love Stephanie when she said about basketry, but my handwork, people go to my class and they say, don't you do handwork? I said, well, how do I cook my soup with my feet? No, I use my hand. This is handwork. How do I sweep the floor? It's with my hand. How do I wash the clothes? It's with my hand. This is handwork for me. And of course, at the end of the year, I'm not proud to my parents. Look how much I have done, piles of things they take home. No, this is what we don't show in early childhood. What we do in early childhood is the root, and you don't see the roots of a tree. All the nice things who gets the crown is the school teachers, the upper school teachers. Oh, you can see so much, but you can only see that because we have strong roots that we don't see, but this was done by us in kindergarten. So I have to say goodbye.
So Sylvia gave this wonderful picture, and now this is our connection. And you see this spiritual world, and you see the child. And you can ask the question, why should I incarnate in this world? In this world where it is not so nice, obviously. We all see the disasters, the political problems, climate changing and everything. We can get so negative. And say, come and incarnate. They dare to come. And I think that needs courage. A lot of courage. That's one side. And the other side is these wonderful children bring new impulses into the world. She was saying it, seeds. So they are the seeds for the future flowers. And the question is, can we nurture them to become flowers? And how do we do this? And you see, there's a whole setting. And I think it's so important today to see the whole picture. Not just to see the little child. You see the whole picture. And it's so difficult to see the whole picture. It's much easier just to see the spiritual world and connect yourself. It's also very nice to connect yourself to the little child or to the mother, or maybe the working world of the father. It's much easier. But everything belongs together. It is one big picture. And of course, it needs quite a force, an attempt to do it. It's not so comfortable to do it. It needs a lot of strength to design the whole picture. And school, which includes kindergarten and everything, is made up to build together as a whole faculty this picture. Every week, every day new. So it needs this conversation. What is she doing in the kindergarten? What is the class teacher doing? What is the high school teacher doing? No, what is the development of the child? How is the seed growing? And we have a unique possibility in our school to do this. I don't think there is any school in the world who really is concerned about this, that all people who are working on this development and this nurturing helping the child to become itself, to express itself, that the seed from the spiritual world comes into our life, brings us new impulses. There's not a single school, I think, in the world who wants to do this really and work together. And the question is, are we doing this? And how do we do this? So, when you look at a little child, you get a mood, of course, and this mood is you are so thankful. You're so thankful that they are here. And of course, when you are in this house now, we can feel a little bit of this atmosphere, that you are so close to the little ones. Because if you would have a high school teacher meeting, it would be a complete different mood. So you can see the people on the info desk and the people who welcome you, they are looking happy at this time. This is normally not the case so much, but you are wonderful because you bring the spirit of the small child. And you can see it, it is something here, a special quality you bring in this house. And so it's not just saying, oh, that's kindergarten, and so no, it's a very special quality you have developed in yourself. Now, if you look at this first picture, then you see we have this light, this wonderful light. And we have the child now in his first position. And as you know, the little child looks into the world in a special way. It receives the world as a whole big sense organ. And the little child develops its body. But the body is not enough to get up. Even if everything is ready, there is no need to get up. And the imitation of the world, that's also not enough. It's a precondition. But it doesn't mean if you have the image of the upright human being that you have to get up. They are both here. Both wings are here. But there's no need to get up. There's something which is special about this getting up, standing up on your own feet. And this is the child, him or herself. It needs the child to say, I want to get up. So you have the preconditions, but this is a surprise. Wow, it's getting up. Let's do it together. Can we get slowly up? You have this sitting position, and now you feel your back, and you go slowly up in your uprightness. Can you feel what is this wonderful moment is to get up? Let's go once more a little bit back. And now we go from down up slowly, slowly, until we are completely upright. This is the beginning. And now we have two dangers. So it's the world and it's the body. It's the inside, it's the outside. And in between there is the third force, the uprightness. But the uprightness, Christoph made it. He didn't realize it, obviously, but I saw it because he's so much in it. So he made this wonderful gesture. He said, he gave this gesture of the Ahriman, and he said,
you know what happens if you fall back. When you fall back, you hold your hand like this, automatically. But when you fall in front, you don't do it like this, you do it like this. So you have two dangers to lose your uprightness. Falling back and falling in front. And there are very basic gestures. When you fall back, you go in this gesture, which is an A. And when you fall here, you go the gesture of a O. And Steiner says, these are the two temptations. It's the Ahrimanic fall, and it's the Luciferic fall. And we have the uprightness between these two forces. So when you do exercise in the morning, when you get up, you could do each morning when you get up, you can say, now I'm upright. Yes? This is the first uprightness. It's the uprightness of the child, this joy. I'm upright. But now comes life. Now you are in it. And now you experience the A. And the A has two qualities. It's the fall and it's the astonishment. I receive something from the world and I'm deeply impressed what I get. Very much. And I can say, thank you. And then I see the other tendency. And I have to make it to a positive gesture. I embrace the world. This is the other gesture. And then I get in between these two consciously a new uprightness, where I'm aware of this gesture and the gesture behind. I'm going upright through the world and try to hold it as good as possible. This is the new I, E, the new uprightness. So when you go into social questions, you're always between, as Christoph was saying, this polarity, as you remember. And this polarity, of course, is our everyday work. Sympathy, antipathy. You have to bring this, you know. And of course, now you have to breathe. And in breathing, which is the most social action you can ever do, the beginning and the end of your life, birth and death is always present. Because when you were born, it was the first time you were breathing in. And when you die, it's the last time you're breathing out. And in between is this wonderful thing we all use in education, the rhythm. The always changing rhythm, which is determined by the inside and the outside. And we try to hold this in a healthy way, breathing the beginning and the end. So you can feel this uprightness and the breathing, and you know time is coming and going through you. So you have this gesture, and now you go into the world and try to be social, which is not so easy because you always have to balance it. And the social is this, that you have developed something and something else. And to remember what Christoph and Clara did. They made a picture, a wonderful picture. They made a star and used two triangles. And now, in these two triangles, they were pointing out these points. As you remember. And Clara said, 5 points, and the 6th one is the one who brings them all together. Christoph used 6 points, and now the 7th is the harmony of all. You see, here we have a new task, because the task of our life is, and it's a long way, as Picasso said, to become young again. This is our job in life. It's a long way to become young again. And you see, in the social world, we have to develop these points. This is what we do have to do here. It's my development. I have to do my work. I have to learn to be positive. I have to learn to be open-minded. I have to recognize a human being is a spiritual being. This is my job. This we do here. We connect with the spiritual world again. It's the lighthouse here. It's my work, but now we become social. And more important in the social life is not the point. It is the in-between. And when they were making this picture, I realized I like to do these exercises, but I forget always to bring everything in harmony. This exercise I often don't do. I'm working very hard at different points, but is this an important exercise to think about how to do everything? But this is the most challenging exercise, and it is a social exercise. Bring everything together. What a big job to do this. And here also, connect here. It's a new challenge. So the 6th, the 5th, the 6th and the 7th are so socially important to have the qualities and then bring them in a context that they are working together. Now, how does positivity and open-mindedness working together? How is this? And so on, all together. How can I bring them together in my everyday life? And we get a new circle, a new way of thinking. Maybe we come a little bit in this, what Stephanie and Klaus-Peter was saying, that we develop this kind of thinking in a circle. Not just points, and I'm working very hard here, and very hard here. No, it's the in between these two, which is socially so important. And of course, this is what we should do in our class teacher time. This is one of the jobs, to make things beautiful, to show what is the interaction between us. I don't want to go in it because there is not much time to do it. And now we come, you come to the high school. And then you have to change. You definitely have to change, You have really to change and become different. In the high school, you're still nicely clothed, but different. Yeah? So now we arrive in the high school, and everything what we have learned here has to become a new level. It has to be turned around, because the first time we try to ask our students to build their own judgments. We are more or less on the same eye level. This is quite demanding. Most of the teacher trainers don't manage this in the training. They still make the students to children. So you can see how difficult it is to really meet your high school students on this level. And now all the furniture the kindergarten teacher and the class teacher have given our students, this furniture has to be rearranged in the head and in the heart and everywhere. Puberty means rearranging of the furniture. You throw the old one out, and new furniture comes in. Big chaos, you know? Mixed furniture. You go in the second-hand shop, and you get your furniture, and find a new setting for yourself. Maybe you're not happy, you throw it out again. You take the next one, you know? And the parents have a big problem. And they think everything of the beauty we have done here, the goodness, everything is gone, you know? Everything. And that's of course not the case, as you all know, because you all here had the puberty. Don't forget it. How did you behave in your puberty? If you look back, I had it very good as a high school teacher because I could tell myself, my children can never be as bad as I had been. Never. So I had a wonderful precondition to be a high school teacher. I always could forgive and say, well, it's not good, but if I compare it with myself, it's nothing, you know, nothing. Now, when we look different on this high school situation, I don't want to go into the high school situation, but I would like to say what is very important is, and this is so demanding for the parents, is, you know, when the child was looking at the gestures, the way you move, the high school student is not looking on the way you move. So if you're very enthusiastic, you know, to think, what's going on with him today? What his problem is today. So it's not about the gestures, and it's definitely not about beauty. They hate beauty. They say, how can we make something which is disgusting beautiful again? This is the question. Yeah. It's all about transformation, and it's all about what are you doing? What are you doing? You talk all the time about social questions, but what are you doing? You know? You tell us not to use the smartphone. What are you doing? So it is all about what are you doing? This is the question of these young people, and this is not very nice for the parents, because, yeah, for us all, because we do so many things wrong, you know, and they all see it. They see it constantly. And they are not happy about us. So be careful when you have a conversation with the high school students and they're really starting to attack you. You have no chance. No chance. You can never stand up to the ideals of these young people if they are real honest. And then you have to commit, yes, I have still to do a lot of work myself, you know. And they like it. If you say, I have still to do a lot of work myself, they really like you. If you are honest, and you really say, here I am, that's me, and I have to develop a lot. They want to see you as a becoming human being. This is so important. But at the same time, we have the incredible challenge to give them the inner feeling, I also look at my own deeds. I have to love what I'm doing. And this is not so easy. So if you put them down, you destroy this inner attitude. So be careful if you correct young people and show them what they do all wrong. This is not what you should do. You should encourage them and say, look, that's the way you have done it. It's also possible to do it different. Don't blame them all the time, but show them, and this is of course self-education, as Clara was saying, show them how one can do it different. Don't talk about it, do it. Because talking is just, yes, they don't like it if you talk and tell them what they have to do. That's gone. Do it. And this is really not the easy situation, of course. Okay, so we have now the collection of everything. We can collect this circle, this community. The students want to see social images. They want to see how you are social, how you connect to other people, but at the same time, They want also to see what is your connection to the spiritual world. How do you work on yourself? That's also very important. So it's also this direction. And together to get this new gesture, like a bowl, you show them, I can have new ideas as an adult as well. I can be young again. Then to be young means to have new ideas. You are old if you are stuck. You can be 70, but that doesn't matter to young people. If you are spiritually fresh, you are young. You can be 20 or 25, you're stuck in your ideas and you're very old. This is the definition of young and old. To be again alive and have new ideas. And you see now, this is what we have to do in the next 100 years. This is our job, our social job. It's a job to develop yourself, to connect yourself with the spiritual world. It's so important to connect to your colleagues. And you know, when I connect to my colleagues, there is something third appearing. And in between, and this in between can be very strong. It's something completely new. We can have together new ideas. So it is meeting in a certain way and connecting in a different way to a spiritual world. And as a group, we can be together and try to find, can we find orientation as a group? And when you have these two together and you hold it up, you can build something new. You get a new orientation in your school, in your kindergarten, in your early childhood institution. But you have to connect again to a spiritual world. So this image of the child beginning life and still be connected, we have to do actively now. I have to connect. I have to do it. Myself as a group. And Christoph was saying, here a polarity can arise and destroy you. But if you do it, you build a new creative unit. Here, he said, fragmentation. If you only are points in a circle, you are fragmented. You are not a group. You are just single individual talking to each other. Building a group, a working group, means take away the fragmentation and building a circle. A circle is not point, point, point. It is a continuation. And the last one, he said, out of this fragmentation comes desorientation. And this happens in our school so much, because we don't build a circle. But if we build it and hold it up, and each one is doing his work, we get a new level, we get a new orientation as a school, as a kindergarten, as an early childhood institution. So, and because I am a high school teacher, I would like to finish with a fairy tale. And brings this together, what we two tried to say, she much more as I, but let's try, maybe I can tell you this fairy tale in a good way. Once upon a time, there was a dragon king in the eastern sea. He wanted his lovely daughter to get married, but the wise princess only wanted to marry a man who was brave and good. So the king was looking for a suitable bridegroom. And he sent out all his men to find this person. After time, they found a young, poor man. And he was introduced to the princess. And she saw he is good, he is brave, and in the fact, he fulfilled everything what she was wishing. But the father was not happy about this man and disagreed in the marriage. So the princess started to cry. And she cried and cried and cried, and the sea level rose and rose and rose. And the next night, the young man had a dream. He dreamt an old man came to him and told him, go down to the riverbank and there you will find the princess. He woke up in the middle of the night and beside him was his brother, and he told his brother his dream and he fell asleep again. His brother rode immediately with his horse down to the riverbank to meet the princess. In the morning, the young man, he was called Al-Ur. Al-Ur woke up and thought, oh, I had a dream. And he set off to meet, by foot, to meet the princess. And interestingly enough, both came to the riverbank at the same time. And there was the princess, and she said, because both of them wanted her as, asked for her hand, both of them. And she said, all right, I will marry the one who goes to my father's place, the Dragon King, and brings me the pearl that shines in the night. And before you go, I give you a silver needle. And when you go to the sea, and you're scared to go into the sea, throw the needle in it, and the sea will be calm. So both set off as fast as they could, and the brother came first to a village which was completely flooded, and the villager was saying, could you bring us the golden pumpkin? Because the golden pumpkin is the only thing which can save us in this flood. And he said, yes, I will do it, and he ran off. A little bit later, Al-Ur came. And again, the villager was saying, could you bring us the golden pumpkin? Because it's the only thing which saves us. And he said, yes, I will do this. So both arrived on the sea. And the sea was very rough, high waves. And the brother was looking at it and was despaired. But Al-Ur remembered the silver needle, took it, threw it in the sea, and immediately the sea was calm. And there was a path through the seas they could walk to the Dragon King's castle. When they arrived, the Dragon King was saying, listen, mortals, you're only allowed to take one thing from my treasuries, not more. So take care what you choose. Both went into this chamber full of gold and silver and whatever you could wish. Al-Ur first saw the pearl who shines in the night. And he looked at it, but he hesitated and said, no, I made a promise. And he went on looking for the golden pumpkin. And he found it, and he took the golden pumpkin. But his brother took the pearl happily, and now they went back through the sea, and the brother was running as fast as possible back to the riverbank. When he crossed the village, he said, I've no time. The king was saying, no, there's no golden pumpkin, and he was running ahead. When Al-Ur came, he took the golden pumpkin, he gave it to the villager and said, here it is. And the villager was so happy, they filled the water in the pumpkin, and the flood was gone. One of the old men came and gave him a shell and said, here, this is the only thing which is left over in our village, you can have it. It was a closed shell. So Al-Ur went on to the riverbank, and they both arrived again at the same time. And now the princess said, oh, we have to wait until it's dark. And when the night came, she said, could you give me the black pearl? And the brother gave the black pearl, but in the hand of the princess, the black pearl dissolved and was just water. She said, this is not the real pearl. Where is it? And she looked at Al-Ur, and Al-Ur said, I don't have it. She said, what do you have in your hand? He said, it's just a shell. And the princess took the shell and she opened it, and there was a little black pearl in it. She took it out, and in her hand it started to shine. It dazzled the young man. He couldn't even see. It was so bright. The whole world was lightened up. There was no night anymore. And for a moment, they could see through the earth and see all the stars round the world. And she threw the pearl up in the air, and there was a light, a new land. And she took Al-Ur on his hand and said, let's go. Thank you very much.
I had time to think what I forgot to say. Thanks God. We start this work saying that we have as a reference lighthouses, and these lighthouses are Steiner knowledge. And I wish for you that this ocean of, what's the name of my ocean now? Ocean of learning how to become a human being. That you can take a little bit of this water with you. And then through our inner work, we all become lighthouses for our children that are around us. That in the future they can go and sail very far away because they had this lighthouse in the kindergarten. Okay?